When you've corrected all your images, then you are ready to build your collage that you're going to use for your drawing. So the first thing you want to do is open up all the images you're going to use for it in Photoshop, and then you're going to create the file that's going to become your collage. So you come up to File, and then hit New, and then name it, and the name should have your name in it. And we're going to make it 8 inches wide and 10 inches tall. And we're going to set the resolution for 300 pixels per inch and 16-bit color with white background. Hit OK, and then we're ready to go. So the first thing you want to do is put the background that you're going to use on your document. So this time I'm going to use a beach. So I want to select all, which is Command A. If you're using a PC, then I believe it's Control A. And then hit Command C to copy it. Come over to your document and hit Command V as in Victor to place the image. So now you can see it's really small. You guys aren't going to have this problem. You're using larger images, but I need to make this bigger, so I'm going to transform it. So to do so, I hit Command T. You'll see that little window pop up, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key and then pull from the corners until I get the image the right size. And this is so small that I think I'm going to have to cheat and just stretch out the image vertically. So for the sake of a demo, it's going to be fine, and you won't even have to deal with this because, like I said, your images are bigger. So once you have it sized the way you want, you hit Enter or Return to set the image. So that's ready to go. And now we want to place and I forgot to say, I should have created a new layer and named it. So I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to go up to Layer and hit New Layer and then name it. So I'll call it Model and hit OK. So then I come over to my model, do the same thing that I did for the beach. Command A, Command C, come back over to my document and hit Command V, paying attention that I'm on the correct layer. There we go. Again, really small. Since he is cropped in the corner with his jacket, I'm going to place him in the corner, hit Command T, and then, excuse me, hold the Shift key down and pull from the corner to size him the way that I want. And then I can hit Enter to place the file. So before you actually start cutting this background out, there's something you can do to help you place the background where you want on the figure. And that's just to go ahead and change the type of file to a, excuse me, to an overlay to start with. So this way, I can come back down to my background layer or my beach layer, and I can move this around first to see what I want. Do I want those little people right by his temple? Do I want maybe that kind of what looks like a beach house in the background? I'd want to place it, if I wanted it in his hair, I'd want to place it so that the end of the image, didn't happen inside of that bun. So I'm going to move it a little bit more. I kind of like that, I think. And so that way I know that I like what's happening inside, right, of the face. So now what I'm going to do is crop out this background. So I go back to Model and I select the Magic Wand tool. And we talked about how it's easy to use the Magic Wand tool if there is a lot of contrast between the background and the foreground, which in this case there is. So I click on the background and it selects it for me. Then I use my Eraser tool, and I don't have to be careful with this portion because because it's already selected. So I know that I'm fine. What I should do is probably change this back to normal so that I can see a little bit better. Oh, that's why. Sorry about that. So I'm going to put my opacity up all the way to 100. There we go. I'm like, why is this not working? I had it set from the demo in class. So now the opacity of the brush is at 100, and I'm going through and erasing. Okay, great. So now I'm going to come to my select on my background layer, and this time I'm going to bring the size of that brush down, and I'm going to zoom in by hitting Command plus, and I'll start to do the same thing, erasing this background. So on this step, you're not going to be able to erase past the size of your foreground, but that's fine because we can do that in the next step. Okay, move my image over. Probably could use a smaller brush there, but I'm going to risk it. Save some time, maybe make this a skosh bigger. Okay. So like I mentioned in class, it's not crucial that this image be flawless because we're using it sort of as a step to get to a drawing. But if you're into the look of this type of double exposure image, then it would be cool for you to have a nice file that you could make a print of, you know, on glossy photo paper. So if it's worth it to you, you should definitely take the time to make it really special and accurate. Okay, I think that's it. Minus, not at all, not at all. Have to get this. Okay, now I think we're good. So let's see, then I'm still on the background layer or the beach layer. Now I can make the selection. So to do so, I'm going to hit Command D. So that sets the image. Now while I'm still on the beach layer, I can go ahead and just erase the rest of that beach scene. And I'm going to grab a really big brush and just power through this. Be careful when you get anywhere near the edge of your yourself, of your face. Switch to a smaller brush so that you don't take out too much of your background. Whoops, I think I just went into that bun. We'll see when we convert it. Okay, excellent. So there's our composition. So now what I can do is go back to switching this file to an overlay, and there is that combination. I can play around with the opacity of both layers, right, to make the model disappear, be more subtle, or make him, you know, more focused. Oh, see, I did. I took out some of that bun. So small brushes on that. All right, so the last thing that I was recommending that you try is creating a gradient layer. So you'd come up to layer and then come over to new fill layer and over to gradient. You can name it if you want to. And then I like the transparent to background, I believe it is. There are other options. You would press down here and then go through and try different things. you've basically got about 3 choices really to work with for this project. You don't have to do this. Whoops, I'm going to undo. You don't have to do this at all. Let me do that one more time. But if it looks cool, if you like what it does to your image, then by all means. I'm just going to move the angle of this a little bit so that I can see more of his face. Let's see. And maybe I won't use it at all. Yeah, I think I like it just without the gradient layer actually. If you wanted to bring out the features a little bit more, then what you could do is click on your background layer and then use your eraser tool or a brush tool, and you'd want to change the opacity a lot, bring it way down to something like 10% to start with. You can always bring it up and zoom in. So if I felt at any time like the background was interfering with the eye, I actually kind of like it. I think it looks good, but if I wanted to sort of soften that, then I would come in and just start to erase a little bit of that background so that we see more of his eye. But like I said, I kind of like it in there. But if you felt like it was interfering at all, you could completely do that. At this point, we're pretty much set. If you're happy or when you're happy with your image, you're going to save it. And save your Photoshop document also, so that way it's available to you if you want to come back and change anything. But also save it as a JPEG. This is what you're going to email me and bring to class on your jump drive. So save it as a JPEG and then make sure that your quality is set to maximum and you're all set.